We go, the red lights are all on, lights go out and away we start, and a traditionally slow start from the Radicals sees them engulfed by a lot of the pack, but then as they make their way down towards Toughest Dip for the first time of asking, it is Gordon Duncan who does get away, and he just manages to hold off Simon Griffiths, who comes firing down in towards McIntyre's indicator, and we can see Mark Thompson deep in the pack there from a second row start in his Radical. He has not got off the line well at all. Sean Davidson in the blue BMW very much up there in the pack at the start of this, behind Fiona Kindness as the two blue saloon cars go up towards Clark Corner. And the lights are off the safety car. Alan Barn has gone, and it's in the control of Gordon Duncan now in the black and red Radical, and he spurts away from James Strachan, and this has worked perfectly for Gordon Duncan. It really has. Lindsay McCracken not even in the top three on the road just now. He's about 5th place, 5th car in the queue as they make their way up towards the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge and the green flags. It's James Strachan second on the road. There's Philip Russell in his BMW. So Phil Russell is in the mix right now in the BMW, and he's in round about 5th or 6th place as we get towards the end of this race. And that's Michael Imrie having a look at Adam Kindness in towards Clark's. Yes, it is. And through he goes. Michael Imrie goes past Adam Kindness there, and that's a battle which will fight on all the way towards the flag, you guarantee. There goes Harvey Galanders in the silver Honda Civic through our shot, and there's Natalie Cowie on the inside as we go back towards Imrie, who holds Kindness on the white line all the way through there. And Adam tries to cut back through the corner, and Michael sees that coming and just cuts across the nose of the Mini Cooper S. And Fiona Kindness in the Subaru Impreza, she'll have the legs and everybody, and power straight back past both those guys on the straight there, so a good bit of moving from Fiona. But here comes Imrie up the inside. Very brave stuff from Michael Imrie. He goes past, and Adam Kindness also goes to follow through. But we pick back up with Gordon Duncan, who comes out of the hairpin in that lovely black Radical. He goes up towards the checker flag, and that must surely be one hand on the overall championship for Gordon Duncan now, as we pan back round to see Lindsay McCracken in a good second place, and Simon Griffiths, who'll come home in a very fine third place. Simon, a busy man this weekend, doubling up in Superlap Scotland as well. They cross the line, and we should see number 90 Willie Patterson in another Radical coming through, but we look back to find Michael Imrie, Fiona Kindness, we've got James Strachan and Adam Kindness all coming round together. The benefits of having multi-class racing all on track at one time, and it was Willie Patterson who gets 4th, and Fiona Kindness comes home for a good 5th place overall. Anti-clockwise, Sunday for the Modsports second race of the day. Cars leaving the pit lane and going on to Knockhill. And Paul Bryden has showed up for Sunday, and he's also brought Cameron Bryden as well for some reverse direction fun. Gordon Duncan's on pole from Paul Bryden with Lindsay McCracken and Simon Griffiths. Willie Patterson, Sean Davidson, Cameron Bryden and Stevie McNabb makes a Modsports debut for us, and we look forward to seeing how he gets on. The red lights coming on, full complement of lights. It should be Bryden who gets the jump here in that lovely Solution F space frame silhouette BMW, and he does look at that launch. And Sean Davidson also with a fabulous start there. The Radicals notoriously tricky to get off the line, but Lindsay McCracken has got ahead of Gordon Duncan as they go into the hairpin for the first time of asking. Sean Davidson on the outside with a bonnet on that BMW now after yesterday's slight misdemeanour where the bonnet came off in the first lap running in towards the hairpin. It did stay attached to the car, and it really hampered Sean and his visibility for getting back into the pit lane. But as we come through Clark's for the first time of asking, Paul Bryden, down the hill he comes. The Solution F BMW M3 with a 3.5 litre Nissan V6 engine sits right behind the driver. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. Came from Scandinavia, from the Scandinavian touring cars. And Paul Bryden, well, he likes to bring it here and he likes to have some fun. And what he does like is clear road up ahead of him so he can really deliver those fast lap times. A seasoned professional when it comes to club racing in Scotland and the whole of the UK. Across the line he goes. The two Radicals hunting him down. What can Gordon Duncan do? Gordon Duncan trying to get that championship as he goes round the outside of Lindsay McCracken. This is a big manoeuvre for Gordon Duncan, and that now puts him on the inside for his stops. But if they're side by side, it will be the outside at Clark's. But Gordon Duncan already ahead on the run round towards Clark Corner, where the track drops away from you. Very tricky, as that looked like it was Adam Kindness who was on two wheels going through Clark's behind Natalie Cowie, and he's got Michael Imrie as ever, standard. If you've got Kindness, you've normally got Imrie right under his rear wing, or vice versa, as they make their way through a mod sports race. The Mini and the Clio very evenly matched. Kerr popping through there with Louise Strachan, and then that looks like it could also be Richard Sutherland in there as well. Big Richard, normally we see him in a BMW, but out in the Mini Cooper S, and he's also ahead of Murray Douglas as well, as they go underneath that Beeson's Building Supply Bridge and in towards the airport. Look at this, Imrie thinking about having a go at Adam Kindness, but Adam very, very late on the brakes as they go through. Now there's a bit of dust or something coming off one of those cars there, as Louise Strachan drops a wheel into the gravel. That's going to hurt her. Here comes Richard Sutherland, winding up the speed to try and see if he can get through on the run out towards Clark's, but unable to do so. It looks like Louise had just got enough power in that little Mini Cooper S to hold at bay Richard Sutherland. Yes, he does, as Kindness feels the need to defend in towards the Black Circle chicane from the hard charging Michael Imrie just now, as you come through this glorious section of Knockhill from the chicane all the way back up to the crest of the hill in the hairpin. Beautiful piece of driving. It just flows so well. And at the front, look at this, Gordon Duncan has really worked hard to catch up to the back of Paul Bryden. Paul Bryden will be watching this and trying to manage the situation, because the Radical a lot lighter than the big Solution F BMW, so it will look after its tyres through this 15-minute plus 1 lap race. Quite a long race for them, but Paul Bryden knows how to manage this car very well. He's raced it for quite a good few years now. Remember his son Cameron also in the race. Cameron right now just on the edges of the top 5. It'll be a great run for him in his first full year in the BMW M3 as they both come through it. Both cars sounding great as they go past our camera, and still Natalie Cowie ahead of the Kindness and Imrie battle, as Michael Imrie starting to look a little bit impatient, shall we say, behind Adam Kindness, and I don't blame him actually, as they make their way along towards Clark. Kindness will be absolutely loving this. The front of that car sporting a bit of damage from an off which he managed in Superlap Scotland qualifying at Duffy's Dip yesterday. You can see the front left of that bumper is missing. A lot of extra aero onto that front left wheel, which will probably be doing absolutely nothing, but it looks quite mean as he comes through the chicane, bounces from curb to curb. Then Sutherland comes through, still ahead of Murray Douglas in car number 69. Muzz having a good run this weekend in that black Mini, everything holding together well as Natalie Cowie goes past. You can hear the superchargers whining away on the Mini Cooper S's, and Paul Bryden still holds at bay Gordon Duncan into the hairpin. That just sounds absolutely gorgeous. Bryden a little bit lazy getting on the throttle there, and here comes Gordon Duncan, but Gordon Duncan's got to try and figure out a way of getting past that little Radical. Looks even smaller behind the big Solution F BMW M3, just because of the overall size of it, as again defending in towards the Black Circle chicane was Paul Bryden. As we pick up with this Imrie now with a good run through Clark Corner. Can he get up the inside in towards the chicane? No, he can't. He goes back to the outside because Kindness will make himself a bit lame there. He's sideways on the way through. Michael Imrie could be on with a dive in towards McIntyre. Here he looks at the inside, but no, Adam Kindness covers that one, and covers that one very, very well. Michael Imrie showing that he wants to make the manoeuvre, wants to get past, and trying to go round the outside of the top of Duffus. A brave place to do it, but a little flash of the brake lights will probably just kill his momentum onto the straight. But as they come over the crest of the hill, side by side, Imrie looks like he's just starting to get alongside on the brakes. He needs to be brave here, but Adam Kindness keeps him pinned on the inside, and Michael Imrie unable to go through there. This is a fabulous battle. Now remember, yesterday in the second race that we showed, it was these two guys battling in the other direction, and it was exactly the same. It was nip and tuck all the way. Here comes Imrie up the inside. Now surely that must be enough of a gap to get him through. Kindness tries to fight it and puts himself off the road. Imrie will get through on the inside there, and a little bit of sportsmanship, I have to say, from Adam Kindness as well there. He could have kept his foot in that, but he knew that he had to give that place to Michael Imrie. And all the time, look at this coming through. We've got Paul Bryden as well, as they make their way over the crest of Duffus Dip, and that's Richard Sutherland who's out into the grass there. Lights on now for Paul Bryden, just to try and warn everybody that the leaders are coming through. They'll also be getting the blue flags and blue light panels which the marshals can flash at these drivers. And look at it, starting to get dark now. That's because there's some clouds gathering overhead, and let's hope we don't get a shower towards the end of this race. As we're on lap 14 now, right at the end of the race, Gordon Duncan tries to come down the inside again it's really going to have to be a bit of a Hail Mary as we go through the Adam Kindness effect at the chicane there. Or maybe it wasn't Adam, that's maybe being a bit harsh. I think he was on the grass rather than taking out the bollards. But Paul Bryden now very much under pressure from Gordon Duncan. He's feeling this one towards the end of the race. Even with those lights on, the cars are moving out his way, but he's under pressure as we go over the crest of the hill now and down towards the hairpin. Once again, Bryden sits the car in the middle of the track. Gordon Duncan technically leads the race now, but he's on the outside and Paul Bryden will just hold that one. But here we go. What can happen now as they head round towards Clark Corner, side by side, the little radical on the inside. Bryden's been here before. He knows he just needs to level him on the brakes as we pick it up with our neck camera. And Bryden once again back on the inside with a huge moment and held that together. And Gordon Duncan, with a face full of BMW sideways across him, manages to not make contact. This is a sensational race between these two cars in completely separate classes. We've got Paul Bryden in Class A and we've got Gordon Duncan in Class B, but both going for overall honours in this race. The spectators being shown a classic multi-class race here just now as they go over the crest of the hill. We now come in towards the hairpin. And a nice bit of braking for Bryden. He knows that he can't give Gordon Duncan half an opportunity because Gordon will take it all. Gordon wants to win this one on the road because that will be championship signed, sealed and delivered for him for 2023. As they come round towards Clark Corner, that looks like it could be, yes, Sutherland and Douglas. Murray Douglas first to get the Paul Bryden treatment, and Richard Sutherland sees him coming through as well. And Richard Sutherland, does he let them through? No, Sutherland doesn't leave enough room for Gordon Duncan to get through there, and that's just split that battle open. Sutherland still in between them, and he gets he either runs wide or gives them the place there. I think he was either actually running wide with Richard, trying to carry so much speed in towards McIntyre's. But over the crest of the hill, Bryden can almost sigh a little bit of relief now as they go over the crest of the hill in towards the hairpin. This is very much enough of a gap for Bryden to manage, although Gordon Duncan is going to throw absolutely everything at this towards the end of this race now. As in towards the hairpin, Richard Sutherland with a big lock-up into the gravel now. Is that a mechanical issue as well for Richard? Because that's a lot of extra smoke coming out of that car there. Can we see any fluid getting put down? But Richard Sutherland in all sorts of trouble there. Yes, it looks like there's fluid coming out that car as well. And now, look at this, Paul Bryden has actually started to pull away on the last lap. He's got a nice comfortable buffer over Gordon Duncan and he's about to put his own son a lap down. Will that happen? I don't think so. It looks like Cameron Bryden has just enough of a gap in that silver and grey BMW, the NBA specialist cars, to hold his dad at bay. Is over the crest of the hill. Checker flag should be flying, and it does. It flies for Paul Bryden there. We had a late checker flag, but Paul would have been looking for that one all the way down towards that checker flag, and he wins by 8.7 seconds at the end of that race over Gordon Duncan. Gordon Duncan does take the overall Modsports Championship for 2023 and a good second place ahead of Lindsay McCracken, Cameron Bryden and Willie Patterson home in 5th place. Second place in the championship, a hard-fought championship, went to Natalie Cowie, and Phil Russell took a very good 3rd place in the championship.